Okay, well, apparently this is live. There it is. Isn't that special? Super duper. Got live chat selected, and I am live. Now all I need is people to come watch. Hopefully some will. Crawler, hey Kyle, dude, how are you? Would you like to join in? Certain people I don't mind inviting if they want to join. Hey Brandon, just getting started. Just getting started. Got the receiver box opened up on the blue F450. TV and phone are within a second of each other this time. Well, that's interesting. They were way off last time, and you had to, I think you're running them on the same internet. Maybe not. Don't remember. Not sure. But I may as well go ahead and display what I've accomplished in the last few days. Let me move this out of the way for a minute so that I can, whoops. So that I can switch the trailer around and bring it around over here backwards so that I can get to it. And get to the motor lead here. Hopefully that shows up. Not sure how well it shows up, but hopefully it shows up. I'm going to grab my test receiver and ESC. Up here off the top shelf. Hey Kyle, that look familiar? I think I have enough parts to build it now. I'm not sure, but I came across some stuff the other day, and I think it's going to give me what I need. Okay, so I had some ramps donated to me, so I didn't end up having to make them, which that made me a happy camper. I'm going to plug this ESC into this motor. Move that over there. That's probably going to be in the way. Yeah, I remember it was quite a difference in latency last time, Brandon. Any more slack out of that? Not really. Kind of hard to get slack when you don't have a lot of wire hooked up yet. That's one of the things I'm going to do tonight is hook up some extra wire. But the ESC on the truck, I have to put a plug like this on it, and then I'm going to put the same plug on this ESC right here so that I can plug it directly into the battery. I think that's what I'm going to do. That'll be the easiest thing to do. And then I'll be able to power this without powering it through the receiver, which I'm not a big fan of, but it does work. It gets it done. First I gotta put on my glasses. When am I building a drag car for the trailer? Drag car for this trailer? This is my off-road, my crawler trailer. What trailer am I building a drag car for? Any of my trailers. Well, I don't know, but I got a special trailer build in mind for drag cars. I showed you the CAD drawings of it, and I think it's pretty damn amazing, but you know, I'm prejudiced. Now, I need a little jumper cable. Where is, and I just had it a minute ago. Don't you hate that when you have something 5 minutes ago and now you can't find it? Oh, it's because it's already plugged into the receiver. Duh. Now I'm cheating to power this other ESC. I'm pulling the power directly off of the receiver because this ESC can only take up to 7 volts, 7.4 volts, 2 cell, and it the motor that it's running doesn't draw very much current at all, so I'm not too concerned about drawing too many amps through the receiver to run this other motor. And for temporary testing, just to show this thing, I'm going to plug this in. This is just a 2-channel receiver, so I'm going to plug this in to the steering slot on this receiver just so that I can operate this thing. If I can get this to plug in. Look at there, like a boss. Okay, now I need a battery to power the ESC, and I'll use that one. Then I'm going to need my radio. Four people in chat. Who all's in chat? There's one other person here. Who is it? Switch model. Select model. Go down here to this new model because that's that test receiver. Okay. Now I'll turn on this ESC, which is going to put power to the receiver and this ESC. Now I'm going to turn this one on, and it just beeped, and now my coffee cup's in the way. So now I got to move my coffee cup. But you know how it is on my channel, MKRC Builds. I like to make stuff move. So I'm going to move the controller out of the way, and you guys keep your eye on the trailer ramps here. And they run from the controller. And that's quite a bit of tilt considering the front of the trailer sitting on the deck up here. When the trailer's up in the air on the back of the truck, those ramps will only have to tilt down about that far, maybe not even that far. Probably about like that when it's sitting on the truck for the ramps to operate. But yeah, power ramps on the back of my original gooseneck trailer. And it looks like I'm getting some slippage on that actuator, which is kind of strange because it's brand new, never been used. Turn all this stuff off, turn this off, turn the controller off, and unplug all this stuff. But anyway, that's the gist of how they work. And powered from the radio And this little micro ESC is powered actually from the receiver, which is kind of convenient. And I think that's how I'm going to do it when I hook it up in the truck. I haven't completely decided yet if I'm going to run a separate power source for this or not. But what I do know is this little short lead right here that runs from the actuator. This is the power lead to the actuator that plugs into the ESC. This is not long enough to reach the front of the trailer. So one thing I do know I have to do is extend that. So that's going to be on my list to do tonight. I'm going to solder up some leads to extend that up to the front and maybe put a different kind of plug on it. I'm not decided yet. You just have to see how it goes. And then I will wire this into the truck and it'll operate then from the truck. At least that's my theory, is that this will operate while it's hooked up to the truck and I don't have to touch the trailer to raise and lower the ramps. With this trailer sitting hooked up to the truck level, this is actually, Brandon and I have both driven our crawlers right up on here, but we did kind of belly out a little bit as I recall and whatnot. So these ramps, I gotta say, are pretty nice. I had to 3D print new tips for them, but if you can get a better look, I don't know if I can get enough light on them or not. But they're stainless steel and they're pretty stout, pretty heavy, strong metal for a set of ramps. And they were donated basically by Nitro Rick. Y'all know who he is, Rick Provost? Yeah. I bought some drive shafts from him, and when he sent me the drive shafts, he included the ramps in the package. He knew I was a little interested in them, so he just went ahead and sent them to me. I thought that was pretty nice. And I bought a whole spool of wire, servo wire, because it has multiple uses. And one of the uses is it's a good, really good supply of red and black wire. So I'm going to pull off enough here to make sure I got enough. Then I'm going to cut it off. Put this back in the bag. I got this other bag here that I've been saving the white wire because I just go ahead and pull it off of the red and black. I don't need it on there. But I don't want to throw the wire away. So I keep it and roll it up and stick it in this other baggie and just kind of hang on to it. And I use it for jumper wires and making connections and whatever I need wire for. I'll use it for wiring LED lights together or something. But because it's good wire for that, it's perfect for wiring LEDs together to make wiring harnesses for LED lights. So then I have my red and black power leads for my doodah-diddy over here. Still only showing as 4 people watching. At least that's all it's showing on my screen. I'll be posting a video tomorrow. I have to reshoot it. I shot it today, but I didn't do it right. So I have to reshoot the video tomorrow. But I put the CNC machine back together today with a new lead screw in it. And so far, it seems to be in quite the good shape now. So I'm hoping that for a while this will solve the problem with that. And customer service said that it's pretty rare for those lead screw nuts to wear out like that one did. He was actually quite surprised to see that that had happened. And so they're replacing them for me for free. And in fact, they're giving me a complete set for the whole machine. So I'll be able to replace those if I want to, or be able to use them somewhere else, maybe some other project. Because my intention is to replace all those lead screws anyway. I want to get rid of those lead screw and copper nut screw drives and put ball screw drives in them in that CNC. And for about $100, I think I can do that with ball screws and have a much better, much more accurate and longer lasting situation. I'm going to just cut that off there and 86 that joint. Cut this off here and 86 that joint. That way I don't have an extra connection in there. Oh, yeah. I don't see anybody else chatting besides you two guys. Not sure why the screen's telling me there's 4 people watching when there's only 3. It's deceiving. And the solder stick is nice and hot and ready to go. I'll get these wires tinned up real quick. Okay, that takes care of that. Now, that and that. I'm just gonna cut that in half. Be done with it. Thanks, Kyle. Yeah, it does a good job. I'm real happy with it. Gets plenty hot. It does the trick. It does the trick. Whenever you're soldering wires, see how long those leads ended up being? I don't know if you can see that or not. Yeah, you can see it. They don't need to be that long to solder wires together. So always snip them off short. You don't need all that extra stuff sticking out there. It's just unnecessary. And once you got your wires all tinned up, take your hot iron, get a little dab of silver gold on there and rub them together. And that's all it takes. It's just that easy. Soldering is a technique and a talent, and not everybody has good luck with using solder, but I don't seem to have much of a problem with it myself. Now, I need to stretch this shrink wrap just a little bit. I find my official shrink wrap stretching tool. Is that it? Nope, that's not it. Is that it? I think that's it. Nope, that's not it either. Well, what happened to my official shrink wrap stretching tool? I just used it here the other day. Well, no, yesterday, actually. What did I do with it? I hate when that happens. Do y'all hate when that happens? I'll try using this. I don't think that ain't gonna work. Maybe this will work. Nope, that ain't gonna work either. Well, I'm just gonna have to wing it here. Maybe I can get by it. Yep, that worked out all right. No problem. But if you didn't know that, when you're doing shrink wrap, you can, if it's just a little tight to fit over your solder joint when you want to slide it over, you can stretch the shrink wrap a little bit, slide it over, and then heat shrink it, and it works just fine. It does exactly what it's intended to do, and it doesn't hurt the integrity or nothing. And I guess my go machine won't go till I give it something to go with here. I thought it was connected up, but you know how that goes. Connected up now, by golly. Okay, that is a pretty solder joint, boys and girls. Too bad you can't see it. I need some better light. There we go. Maybe that's better. Now you can see it. Yeah. All right. Now, to figure out where this wire is going to live, if that's possible, run it down the length of the trailer here. Oh, I gotta tin those wires too. All right, let's see. Okay. I'd like to just run it right down the center. I don't know if that's a good idea though. I'm gonna have to figure out how to tie this wiring in to the trailer. Cable management. #1 problem of RC guys, right? Never able to have good cable management. But for right now, I'm going to use Magic Managers called zip ties. Yes, sir. For right now, I'm going to put one here. Oh, wait a minute. What if I put that on the inside? Of that rail. Like so. Yeah, this might work better. This might work better. I don't know if it'll work better, but it'll probably look better. You know? Who knows? I could also feed it in that channel and stuff a little hot glue in there to hold it in. Get rid of these zip ties altogether. And I may do that. That might be a good plausible plan for making this work. But for now, just going to run the zip ties. And see if I can get by with it for the time being. Now there's only one person watching. Is that you, Brandon? You the only one there? Yep, must be you. You're the only one watching. I think. It seems that way anyway. So this is turning out about like last week turned out, isn't it? Oh, Kyle's still there. Okay. All right. This may work out okay. This is about to get interesting though, because I can no longer lay the trailer upside down on its side or on its top with those ramps on there. Maybe it'll survive on its side like that. And I'm going to tuck that wire up under there. Hey, I think that's going to work. Maybe. It maybe just might work. Okay. We're gaining on it. Run this zip tie around the cross member right here. Oh, mercy. Now, guess I left myself plenty of wire. Let's see. What can I do if I move this over here like that? Very gently set it there. Now, I can aim the camera up a hair. There we go. All right. I don't really need all this extra wire back here, but I hate to cut all this off just to make this connection, so I believe that I'll leave it like it is, and then that way if I change something I won't have to add any wire in later. I'll already have extra wire back here. It's one thing I've learned about soldering in wire and stuff. Always leave yourself a little extra, because as soon as you don't, next time you work on something or do something with it, you're going to be wishing you had some extra wire right there, and you remember that you cut it off earlier. And so, yeah, that's how that ends up going. Those are already tinned. I'm going to snip them off short. Practice what I preach. If you got time to do it, you got time to do it right. That's how I look at it. There's another kind of plastic that I've seen people using to mill stuff out of, and I can't think of the name of it, but it's a really hard, firm plastic, maybe even like a nylon or something, and you can mill it, you can lathe it, and it comes out like a formed part afterwards. And I kind of liked that idea. I'm going to see if I can find out what that is, find out how to get some, because I think that would be really, really good for doing links and skid plates, and not have all the time and stuff in it that it takes to mill the aluminum. So that's very time consuming. Where'd that little booger go? There it is. I see it under there. Like those shock mounts I made for Brandon, Kyle, those took like 2.5 hours to cut out on that mini mill. And it's hard to be productive when it takes that long to cut stuff like that. So I'm thinking I'd like to find something that's as strong and durable as the aluminum, but not as hard to work with. I think that would be a really, really good way to go. I think it would. I've thought things before and later realized I was mistaken. So it would help if I pull on the right cord, wouldn't it? Okay, now put this over here, put that over there, stuff that down in there. Where's my stuffer at? Oh, come on, quit being so difficult. Why you gotta be so difficult? Okay. We can make this work. One way or the other, we can make this work. And sometimes it turns out to be the other, doesn't it, guys? You prefer plastic over metal because it slides better. Yeah, that's true. And one more down here on this other end. And this wiring job will be complete. And leaving this wire a little extra long back here does another thing too. If that actuator ever goes out, and if all I have on hand is a short one, I can take the screws out of this cross member that hold it in, move it back, and use a shorter actuator that would be a done deal at that point. Okay, there we go. Wrapped up. Now its power has run to the front. So now it's time to get the truck up here and see if we can get this thing working from the truck. Yes, sir. Okay. Put that right there. Put this back over here somewhere. Sweep off the table. Put that in my little can. Yeah. For plastic over metal. Yep. I'm trying to do this and watch chat too. And I'll put a link in the chat there if you guys want to come in and just voice chat or something. I already sent you a link, Brandon. Oh, these trucks are so daggone big. Ooh. Okay. Yeah, I sent you a link to join in the live stream. I sent it to you in Messenger. I can also send you one, Kyle. Okay. The only other thing I got to worry about is how I'm going to get this plug out through the bed. I'm going to have to put another hole in the bed. And I don't want to make another extension to go between these, so I'm just going to have to extend this plug to be able to reach from all the way up here to all the way back there. So make sure that's the right one. Yep. So we're going to cut that off and solder some wire to that. Okay. See if I can do this. Down here to here. Right click, paste, send. Okay. Close Facebook. All right. Oh, all right. I need a little bit more wire. That ought to be enough. Well, I tell you what, Brandon, that roll of servo wire right there is the best thing I ever bought, man. That stuff is so handy in so many ways. I don't know how much wiring you do, Kyle, but if you do a lot of wiring, that servo wire is good wire. It's inexpensive, and you get a bunch of it. It's good bang for the buck. Just off Amazon. Like I said, if you don't need the signal wire, you can always just peel it off there and save it up and use it for something else. Time is it? 7:45. I might get this done in an hour. I haven't seen anybody pop in yet to the live. I've been watching. Oh, wait a minute. There's Kyle, just showed up. All right, let me get you added. And here we go. You're live.
Thank you for the for having me.
Sure.
Trying to get my something to hold my phone so I can just so I don't have to do it.
Right.
Let's see here.
I've got all kinds of tripod mounts and stuff for phones and cameras and iPads.
I used to have a really nice one, but one of the dogs got it one day, and that was the end of that.
You gotta hate when that happens.
Yeah. All right. Sorry, my lighting is not the best, but
Oh, mine's horrible. I'm doing this without any of my studio lighting or my good microphones or anything.
So
I'm just using the microphone on my camera.
Right. I was gonna say, when you're doing this, I should if you're always looking for someone, I'm most likely available, and I wouldn't mind, the exposure. So.
Well, I might not be the guy to give it to you.
No, you know what I'm saying though. It's this is the only way you build that kind of stuff up.
Yeah.
Yep. If it's both of us talking every time you go live once a week or twice a week or however you're doing it, eventually more people will see it, and maybe they'll want to see what we're talking about or what you got going on. And
well, that's the hope.
Yep.
This is season 1, of course. I just started it this year, and this is episode 3. on this live stream, on this channel, I actually started numbering the episodes.
Right.
So keep track. And
hey, I asked you a question earlier. I don't think you saw it. Are the wheels on the Send truck, are they aluminum?
no, I wish they were.
Okay, I was gonna say, man, that's pretty gnarly.
Yeah, they're plastic, but they do offer. There's Sen has some aluminum wheels that they offer, and there are aftermarket aluminum wheels as well. But now that I've got the lathe and the CNC, I'm having a hard time deciding that parting with my hard-earned money for wheels is a good idea when it's probably something that I can make if I really put my mind to it.
Right.
But I don't know that I can either. I haven't tried. Not yet. I do know that I can make links and stuff like that of pretty much any length on the lathe, and I can thread the ends so that all you got to do is thread your rod ends on there.
Yeah, I feel like I need those for like when I'm doing these custom chassis like this one here. And it requires, especially like the upper links, like I don't know, I'm on the fence on this one still about what to do as far as it has front leading arms and trailing arms, but they're identical front and rear. But you know, obviously they're just 3D printed. These ones that are on here right now are actually printed out of PLA, and I've already broken one, so I redid the design, and I'm printing them now in PETG. So, but I don't know. I was thinking about offering this one with 2 different style skids, and because I can have it run
Go to
like
your room. Yeah.
traditional SCX 24 style links, but they would need to be custom lengths. And that the other thing too is drive shafts. That's not something that you would be able to make, right?
I don't know. I don't know if I could do that small of a shaft and then put some kind of spline or something on the inside diameter of it.
Well, like, have you seen like here, I'll show you one right here, like an Endura, a steel one. They don't do all the fancy spline. They just keep it simple. It's just a, I don't know if you can see that. It's just a square.
Oh.
So it's just a square going into a square, and that's a steel shaft.
Yeah, now that I could probably do.
Because I even see they make them now. They're selling them in brass. You know, brass drive shafts.
Yeah, they're doing that for the weight.
Yeah, but it's easier to mill brass than it is steel, right? Like brass is softer, or no? I'm wrong.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, in fact, if I made drive shafts, I'd make them out of brass or aluminum. I wouldn't even try to make them out of steel.
Right.
My mill will handle, or my lathe will handle steel, but it really makes it work hard.
Right. Yeah, no point in killing the thing.
No, I'd like it to last a little while.
Yeah. You know, I've never broken a plastic drive shaft other than on my my axial rift, and it doesn't actually break the drive shafts. You know, like on the, I guess I know the Capra has it. It has like that floating centerpiece in the drive shaft. Well, ever since I locked all 3 differentials on it, if it jumps and sees any kind of air, usually when it lands, it snaps the rear center section on the rear drive shaft.
Oh, really?
Like every time. So it actually got to the point to where I copied it and I started 3D printing it, and I've used everything from PLA, PLA Pro, and PET G, and PET G will last the longest. But same thing, it breaks when you jump it too high. And then what's funny, when the PET G snaps, it sounds like glass shattering. Because I print it solid too, so I think the axial one is actually hollow. But,
yeah, it is.
And like PLA Pro would never actually snap; it would like twist, like twisting like a Tootsie Roll.
Yep.
Yeah. So one day I'd like to print some ABS or some nylon.
Well, you can do that, but better have exhaust hooked to it.
No, yeah, I was gonna say I can't do it in my current setup, but one day when I have like a garage or something like that.
I built a spray booth for my airbrush for spraying paint.
Uh-huh.
And I actually now I set my laser in the spray booth and let it exhaust the fumes out when I'm burning just regular wood anymore, rather than fill the house with burnt wood smell.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
What are you using for an exhaust fan?
What's that?
What are you using for an exhaust fan? Anything fancy or?
No, a computer fan.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah, all it's got to do is be able to move a little bit of air. It doesn't have to be nothing fancy. And then I used, I made a duct for it, a connector, and then I used 3-inch dryer vent. And then I made another connector and put that on the back of the spray booth and run the 3-inch dryer vent from one to the other. And bada boom, bada bing. And then I mounted the fan in a piece of PVC about 10 inches tall and wide enough to fit in the gap of the window. And I just put the window up, slide that in, close the window, and I got the fan going right outside.
Nice. Nice.
Works like a champ.
Like I have my one machine in like a tent enclosure. I could probably rig something up like that and get it closer to the window.
Yeah, that'd probably work real well. That would probably work real well.
Tell you what I wish we could make, because I know this is like, you know, a for sure like $10,000 idea for sure. I know it could at least make that much money. I know that.
Tell me, what is it?
Okay, so independent front suspension for an SCX 24. So here's my thinking. This is how I was going to prototype it anyways. So because I think of this all the time because I have that stock Bronco chassis you sent me sitting here on my desk. And I thought, man, you know, it would be cool because nobody's done it. And I know that would be a hot ticket off the bat. How well it would work, I don't know. Just like anything else, but I'm sure we could perfect it. But I was thinking to get the differential and housing from what I was looking at was 1/28 scale drift cars. because I'm looking for something in that size range that I could possibly build a mount that attaches to the frame rails and holds that front differential. And then I thought, I can get some stubby axles, and I thought I could have my buddy Mel mill me some flat upper and lower control arms, and make some, or get some kind of knuckles, and wham bam and make something.
Well, I can tell you exactly how that would work out. Knuckles would be easy, and pivots for the knuckles, where the knuckle goes up and down and the control arm has to pivot with it.
Right.
Easy peasy. Upper control arm doesn't have to be an arm. It has to be a couple of rod ends and an adjustable threaded rod so you can adjust the camber on the wheel. It can be just a single rod.
Mm-hmm.
And the lower control arms can be just a little miniature A-frame.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking. Or even if it could be, if it needed to have the clearance, it could be like a gull wing style.
Yep. That would give it a little more clearance.
Yeah, exactly. But I know that would be a hot idea, hot ticket.
It might be a cool idea for sure.
I was even thinking one might even be easier than that. Would be, how I don't know who makes it. I guess it's Proline who makes that I-beam kit for the SEX10s now. The 2-wheel drive I-beam setup. Do one of those for the 24. Just come up with an I-beam setup and just some knuckles and stuff like that. Some way to hold some bearings in place, and so you got two, free spinning wheels. And
yeah. Now, since I'm going to put this lead in this truck, I should put some shrink wrap on this solder joint, because I've been using this battery test lead with no shrink wrap on the solder joints, connecting it to 2 and 3 cell batteries.
Yeah, that'll be fun when those touch.
I could probably do something about that.
You're going to go from testing stuff to welding stuff.
I prefer to do all my welding out in the shop with the wire feed rather than here on my hobby bench,
Exactly.
Well, I think it's a good thing I bought a new roll of solder. This one's about had it. Something else that's really important when you're doing soldering work is always dab a little bit of solder on your soldering iron.
Mm-hmm.
Because it helps conduct the heat when you're going to, like, after you've got your wires tinned, put a little dab of solder on your soldering iron and then solder your wires. Or if you're going to tin a wire, put a little dab on the soldering iron, then touch it to your wire and then add your solder to the wire, because it helps conduct the heat. Now, the only important thing I got to do here is make absolutely certain that I get this wired correctly. And that goes that way, because this is the power connection. And that's the negative and that's the positive. So that's negative over there and that's positive over here. Okay. Tweezers. Shrink tube. Shrink tube. All right. Now, the center line, center lead is negative. So that goes there. See, so I know these wires have been soldered together before. They're tin and everything. But even before I try to solder them, I'm going to put a little dab of solder on my soldering iron. And then all I got to do is touch it on there. Whoops. Touch it on there and hold it together, and it's a done deal. Because that little dab of solder on the soldering iron helps conduct the heat. Makes the juices flow. Bada boom, bada bing. Positive to positive. That's always a bonus. And one more blast of the heat gun. And run this into the receiver box. I'm running out of room here. And plug this into the battery port on the receiver. Right there. Can't see down in there, my fat finger's in the way. Okay. Now, in theory, and I say this loosely, in theory, if I plug in a battery to the truck, like that, turn on the controller, and select this model, which oddly enough is the very first one on this controller. This was the first truck that I converted over to the Spectrum radio. Okay, that is on. Battery is plugged in. I should be able to turn that on and get power to the truck. ESC is blinking. What did I do wrong? Unplug that, turn this on again. There we go. Turn those lights off. See my ground effects lights? Here, I'll see if I can. What do you think of that, Kyle?
That's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, I am a fan of the underglow glow lights on the RCs.
All right, now turn that off. Let's try pulling power from this jack over here. Turn it back on. Nope, there's something about that connection that it don't like. So that means I can't power this ESC from this receiver like I was doing from that little 3-channel receiver or 2-channel. There's something about it that it don't like. So that means, well, it finally came to life. Looky there. All right. Means I got to power this thing up some other way. I don't have another way to do that easily. I was hoping to be able to make this work. But now I got to figure out a power solution for that micro ESC. Let's see. I can power it direct from the battery. I'll think about that for a minute while I program the transmitter for aux 3.
Oh. So I'm hoping tomorrow I'll have a little bit of time. I'm going to go get to take this thing out for a test run for the first time.
Did you figure out that chat thing on your lives?
Yeah, I think I have it turned off where everybody can talk now.
Cool.
Yeah, I haven't gone live anytime recently. Maybe tomorrow I will. With this thing, we'll see.
Input. Right now it's on C.
So
C?
I don't know why, but I felt the need to try to do a interior in this one.
That's C. Oh yeah.
So this one right now, it's got a
Wants to be 2 position.
It's got a custom ESC case and tray set up in the back. Interior panels.
And make it momentary. Okay, get out of there. All right. Now turn that off. I'm sorry, say that again. The last part?
No, it has a like a custom. I made a an ESC holder. So like you decase like an axial SEX24 ESC, and then it snaps into the one I made, and then that bolts into a tray.
Oh, okay.
And then it all
Hello,
fits.
Dark Prize. It's going to be the easiest way to do this. Really don't want to disturb that plug. I could make a plug to go between them, I guess. Full power directly from the battery to this. I reckon that's going to be my most reasonable option. I've got the file now for the F450 grill.
Yeah.
And I have a guy that prints them, but they're hard to get.
What do you mean you have a guy that prints them? Don't you print them?
I can't seem to get the quality right, the settings right.
No. What are you printing it out of? PLA?
Plus.
Okay. What were you given like recommended settings or?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay. You want me to try to print it for you?
That would be awesome, but the file needs some cleanup work done to it. It's not in perfect shape. It's got some errors. And he fixed them all. I fixed them all, I think, but that could be part of my problem because I've got so many additions and erase boxes in it that it just got it all fouled up. But I could send you the original file and we'll have to do that on the phone. I'll get on the phone with you.
Yeah, no problem.
And send you some pictures and whatnot.
Yeah, definitely. If I can print it for you, I'd be more than happy to print it and send it to you.
Well, I was hoping with this other guy that I'd be printing them and maybe selling them. But I can't get enough of them regularly to have any on hand to be able to sell.
So tell me what you want them made out of and we'll make you a bunch and I'll send them to you. I have, just 2 machines that are here idle. Well, one's idle most of the time. I use the one to do whatever I do, I guess. But I mean, I can make you grills. It's not an issue, man. And I'm sure I can figure out the settings, and I'm more than happy to share, give you the settings so you can print them as well. Try to replicate the quality, anyways.
Yeah, I could show you what a couple of the ones that I've printed look like.
But I can tell you, I mean, I'm sure to get something, I mean, I'm sure we can get it to look really, really nice. But, who's to say how long it could take, It could be a 12-hour print. I don't know. It doesn't bother me. I don't care.
Yeah, I don't think it takes him that long to print them.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not a 10-minute print either.
Right.
I think when I've tried it, it's like, if I remember right, I'm going to say it's between 5 and 7 hours.
Right, but you're not getting the quality that you that you want, right? Or that you feel it should be. Yeah, that's why I was saying I know a few things to just do in the slicer that will really tune up the quality, but it also, depending on what you're trying to do or what you're trying to make, it'll really ramp up the print time. Or sometimes not. Sometimes it has the opposite effect and it really speeds up the process. So it really just depends on the part.
Yeah.
But like my one machine's really good at doing bridging and overhangs and stuff like that without sagging and stuff like that. I have it pretty well tuned for stuff like that. And then same thing with the support settings.
Yeah, I finally switched to tree support, and that, see, I was using Simplify 3D for my slicer for the longest time.
Uh-huh.
And because it seemed to do the best with that dual extruder printer that I've got.
Uh-huh.
And I tried printing on the CR10 with that, and it was less than beautiful. I thought, well, what in the world's causing that? So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and end the live stream because I'm done working on this. There's nothing else I can do, and we're just going to be visiting. So I'm going to end the live stream, and we can still sit here and talk.